I spent a bit of time making the little outline sheets and dialogue trees a bit more pretty. I've given them a colour scheme now. Actually, it's matching with the overlay. So I'm a big nerd for aesthetics. This is kind of episode 1 colour scheme, I guess. It's green. There's a forest that's green, so green's good colour. Plus, I'm going to be doing the new logo this weekend. For those of you that might have forgot or don't know, Stream 200, we're going to be revealing the logo for episode 1, which is just going to be a little update of that one. Just with the new title that won the poll. Who knows what won the poll? I'm happy with the decision. It kicked butt, it got all the votes. The one that won, it was the clear winner. He got 15 votes, the second runner-up got 8, so pretty clear winner there. And I'm gonna probably make it green, but I'll keep it a surprise. I'm not going to tell you too much about what the logo's going to look like. It'll be revealed on Stream 200. Alright. Here we are then. So, last stream, we were working on expanding scene 1. Because there was nothing going on, basically. Nothing at all, apart from Carol just having a bit of a moan, which was super entertaining. But we've gone a bit all out and we've gone further with it now. If you want to follow this, if you want to join us and have a read as we do it, because we're not showing all of it off on the screen at one time, and there's a lot there, then you can take a look at the Law Bible link. I'll give you the actual link there. That will take you straight to the dialogue tree that we're working on, chat. What time is it? Well, in UK right now it is 3 PM. Just gone 3 PM. So I'm not sure what time it is for you. But it's just hit the o'clock. Right, so is there any more common phrases? Because I've got some boxes here about Carol. She's an ENTJ, that's a personality type. I've also started listing her common phrases so we can have some consistency with what she says a lot. And if there's any that we come up with today, then of course I'll add it. Okay, so if we zoom in so you can see a bit better, folks. But yes, Law Bible, if you want to look, you'll be able to see it properly on there. Oh, you're 3 hours behind? 12 PM noon? Alright, so yes, there's quite a bit of extra since last stream. Because the job is to make the beginning of the game as to make you obsessed and want to carry on with the story. That's kind of the goal here. And we even thought of some different variables based on what your hero looks like, with insults that she could use based on what your hero looks like. So of course, if you've got a beard, she'll make fun of your beard. If you've got long hair, she'll say something about your hair having lice in it, and etc, more here. And then eventually somebody, question mark at this point in time, runs over and asks what's going on, and you as the hero get to make your first choices in the game. Yes, they are major ones as well. Well, this one's more the major one, that's why I've given it a dark background. But this question mark person, I put like just a silhouette here because they're unknown so far. We don't know who they are. They're going to be a human-like full villager. So it's when we eventually like start developing our characters, we'll get to decide a bit more about that person and who they are. And we'll be doing like character streams, like episode 1 characters, and developing them once we've like got more of a story outline for where are we? For the rest of the main quests. And then, yeah, so I'm okay now with the dialogue. It was a bit messy at the end of last stream. Yeah, it was a little bit like really rough around the edges, but I had to look over and changed a few bits, and I think it's a bit better now. But let us know what you think. Share your thoughts. Share your thoughts with us, chat. Yeah, I think the it looks a little bit nicer as well compared to last time. I've made the arrows are curved now, and I think I prefer the look of the curved arrows to the other ones. Just looks a bit prettier. Okay, so I'm gonna get, one thing I do want to do is get those choices in here. Another thing I want to do is write the scene card for the next 2 scenes, because not only are we going to write scene 3 today, which is when Carol joins us, I wanted to add a bit more Nigel Buckington dialogue, literally just a box, just to like show the threat a bit more of what's happening, put a bit of tension in there. So what we're going to do first, because yes, today's goal is going to be to finish scene 3, because right now scene 3 is like literally just this, and it's going to get changed quite a lot. It's going to get expanded quite a lot. There's a few bits I'm going to talk about regarding that soon, and then like hopefully at the end of the stream we'll have like finished all the dialogue for main quest 1 for good, because these scenes here are pretty cool. Like I'm pretty happy with how the by the lake and in the cabin dialogues are. They're not too bad. It was always just the Carol scenes that needed work. Hi Vagabond, how you doing? What's that, Brain Gang? Doing well. How are you? How was your stream the other day? Looks really nice so far. Thank you, Deva. Yes, I'm glad it looks a bit prettier now. So when we do these story outlines, I'm gonna like consistently use this sort of aesthetic. I've made it all match with the overlays that we've got on the stream. Okay, so because yeah, before this, the first ever choice of the game was like in scene 4, and now we've got it straight away. We've got a choice quite early on, which is awesome. So let's get those choices in first on the outline. Maybe we've got a lot to do today, so hopefully this won't take too long. Oh, another thing we have to do is decide what moral points and affinity points we're going to lose and gain. Because if we go down here just as an example, obviously if you push Fiona in the lake when you meet her, you'll lose compassion and Fiona affinity points, and you'll if you don't, if you're nice, then it'll be the opposite. You're losing 5 because the pushing in the lake is an action, and it's a little bit more severe than just a bit of verbal nastiness. If it's like a verbal insult, it'll be 1 or 2 points right now. That's kind of what I've got in mind. But if it's like an action, it'll be more points that you'll gain or lose depending on if it's positive or negative. This is our moral scale. This is kind of an idea of it. this here. So far, that's our little base that we're going off. And okay, still grinding on some network multiplier stuff, but I'm making progress and I think I'm starting to understand how it works. Yeah, that sounds very complicated. Before I went off for my dinner, I was having a peek and I was like, whoa, so much code on the screen. Managed to build a dedicated server and pass various inputs from players and to server breakdown to your other players. And what's going on here? We're doing dialogue and story outlining. So we're basically just improving and expanding upon the dialogue work we've done so far, because it was pretty basic in regards to the very first Carol scene. So we're making it more, added a bit more character development, putting a bit more of a hook in there so we get to know her a bit better, so that we tempt people to want to find out more about this charming Barrel. Well, she's not very charming, but she's interesting enough as a character to want to find out more about. Well, we're going to make sure of it with this dialogue. And what flow would you... Oh, yes. Zava, thanks so much for telling Vagabond, because you know how slow I am at responding. I ramble on too much. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is Raw.io and it's diagrams.net. It's a free program. It's free. It's very simple to use. I've always used it from the start, so I'm a bit attached to it. I've found other programs, but to me they're not as... I think Draw.io is just the best. There's some that might be better that you do pay for, but I'm not willing to do that, so I'm sticking with Draw.io. It does the job. And lovely little emojis next to the choices. Hi Ray, how you doing? It's so good to see you. Yes, I want to make sure it's super cool to look at and visual for you guys and for me as well, because if it's all just a massive boring text, I'm gonna just like be fed up of looking at it myself. So I've made it pretty and I'm really happy now, because it's a pleasure to look at. And every time it's a hero choice, it'll be it'll be either a grey or a black box. Black if it's a very severe choice that'll make a huge impact, and just if it's just a grey one without a fill, that just means it's probably going to just affect you where you will fall on the moral scale and your affinity with some NPCs, but not so much the actual story, or any key things for the future majorly. Yes. And oh, you look at you, Vagabond, closing on the 1k requirement. Oh, how many raindrops? Oh yes, getting there you are. And TY for including barrel representation. This game, I know, right? Music, Orion. This game is very ahead of its time. It even considers the right of objects and their right to live. So it's very ahead for its time, this one. And is your character going to be called Karen, Vagabond? I couldn't I am very intrigued with what character Vagabond will add to the game, that's for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing anyone who reaches those 1,000 raindrops and seeing what they'll add to the game. And hi Sorter, how you doing? Yes, Sorter wants to be a character as well. Checking those raindrops. Chub Cheeks, thank you so much. 30 months. Oh my god, the big 3-0. Oh my god, you're almost catching up with my age, Chub. No way. That's crazy. Thank you so much, Chub. How are you doing? How are you doing, Chub? Thanks so much for that huge amount of support for so long. Chub met me when I was a baby streamer. My goodness me. Thank you so much, and thank you for the hype, everybody. How are you doing, Chub? Are you still playing Final Fantasy 14? Are you addicted? I saw you playing it. I think it was Final Fantasy 14 anyway. It came up on the Discord. I was like, Chub's playing that game. I love Draw.io, saved my butt in school multiple times. Yeah, I'm very fond of it. At one point, like I said, I was nearly going to switch to another program, but then I was like, nah, Draw.io is the best. And, you know, it's very, I love how it like embeds into our law Bible as well. It's a nice thing. I will unsub and only pay for 1 month a year. I stopped 14 for a long time. Oh, so who was playing it then? Someone on this list was playing 14, and I must have been imagining it was you then, Chop Cheeks. What am I like? Oh, you did. Oh, it was you then. I was getting worried about myself then. Recently got into Heaven's Ward, yay. Well, hope you enjoy it. Some of those expansions are really good, better than the actual base game. Okay. I was going to say something. I remember now what I was going to tell you guys that slipped my mind. It's come back to me. There's a possibility, and no promises here because there's only a 20% chance. It was a 1% chance before. That I might move to RPG Maker MV. It's still an unsure thing at this point in time because I'd have to test it to make sure it all works, the plugins. The reason why it's a little bit more likely than it was before, because when asked this question in the past, I was like, no, there's only a 1% chance I'm going to move to MV because MZ, because the plugins would need to be made. Well, it turns out that all the key plugins that I use look to be on MZ now. I had to look through the forums last night. The tiled one's on there. I knew that because Vagabond sent me a link to that one, but there was still a couple of other plugins that were very valuable to me, like the skill tree plugin, and that wasn't on MZ, so it was like a big no. But it's there now, and it looks like it's so I'm tempted. It's a bit pricey for me. It's a bit steep, the price for me is right now. For MZ, I don't really think it's worth the £60 price tag. Because there's not really much difference. Not that much of a difference anyway. But the one thing I like about MZ over MV is that it seems like the performance is better, so I've heard. The performance is just a lot, smoother, and really that's it, apart from it being the latest engine. I love 14, but it's so meh without friends, and friends are hard, yeah. I play 14 solo most of the time over the years I've played it. Even if I have played with people, it's like it has to be a really trusted friend, because I don't like playing with randos. I don't like it. Totally, got a lot of main plugins are already. Hang on, I cannot even read properly right now. Totally got the main plugins already agreed to making them for MZ. It will go on sale. Yes, all the Yanfly ones are on there. But made by another developer now, I believe. So that was fine. But half of my plugins were Yanfly ones anyway, but there was still some really important ones that weren't on there. But now they are. So obviously, if I do make the switch to MV, and like I said, it might still be a no right now. Who knows? When I test, it might be a big disaster and I decide to stick with MV. But if I do decide to make the switch, then obviously there'll be a little bit of a delay for when the first playable build gets released, because I'm going to have to convert things over. But we're early enough in development for me to be willing to do that. It's not going to be like, oh my god, or anything too much of a pain. And considering I recently started a new project file anyway, because the old one was a mess, it's probably not going to be too bad. Vision Stella, yes. It's not the same person though, because Yanfly retired, right? Hi Rod, how you doing? Did I say hi? I can't remember if I did. Any plans for the rest of the week off stream? I was tempted to start playing Final Fantasy 14 again because there's 96 hours free, I believe, for people. So I'm like, yep, I'll use those hours up. I will. And it will go on sale. Yes, there's a Steam sale, isn't there, for Halloween? Maybe it'll go on sale. Fingers crossed for me, guys, that MZ will go on sale. There's a free trial, isn't there? Is there a free trial? Because I tried the free trial of MZ. Is it MZ or MZ? For goodness sake, why is it so hard to say that? Yes, if there's a free trial, then I can test everything then before making the purchase. It's a bit less risky because I'd rather test and make sure that it actually does work, the plugins and the compatibility, before like jumping in and getting the thing. Gotta play with those in duties though, can't solo those. Well, since the Shadowbringers, they did this mechanic feature thing called trusts, and that means you can do dungeons on your own, but only the Shadowbringers ones. But yeah, so I get scared of dungeons because they hide on some people to do plugins so Yanfly themselves can retire a bit. Yanfly retired from creating but is teaching, advising the new group. That's cool. It's nice to know that the plugins are going on there. I feel like it would be good to go with MZ because it's all the latest stuff, you know. MV is very, apparently it's not the best in regards to performance for an engine, and it's a far bigger improvement with MZ. And that is really the key thing that's making me want to do the Switch, as well as the fact that there's a plugin that's very appealing to me that's being made on MZ that isn't on MV, to do with weapon overlays. It would save me a lot of time and a lot of custom hero spriting. But obviously I'd have to test if that's compatible and stuff with the plugins I've got, so I'm not going to get my hopes up or anything like that just yet. But that's definitely an appeal too. Hope you have a pleasant evening. Stay safe until the next stream or Sunday's regular message. Thank you, Rod. Thank you for stopping by and saying hi to us. Hope you have a good weekend yourself. I think Yanfly retired from actually making the plugins and has been hiring some programmers to handle porting and creating new plugins under the Visu Stella brand. Yeah, that's cool. Yes, I'm tempted. So there's a 50-50 chance at the moment, guys. I'm gonna do some testing, find out if it's gonna work before I say for sure whether I'm going to be making the Switch. MZ isn't for mobile, that's no big deal anyway because Raindrop Chronicles was never going to be on mobile. It's not Linux though, is it? That's the one thing that we wouldn't be able to have, and I know Azriel is a Linux fan. Do you still have a Windows machine, Azriel? If you're here still lurking and listening, that is. Okay, so yes, that was the main thing I wanted to announce today. Just mentioning that, and obviously I'm going to spend a bit of time off stream having a bit of a test of a few things, maybe the next couple of weeks. So we'll see how it goes. I have both testing my developments. Awesome. So at least if we do make the switch to MZ, you're not missing out on potentially getting involved with our game. Because if you only had a Linux, then that would be tragic. We'd cry. But you never know. There could be a future. There's rumours of a future update having it on Linux for those that would like that. We'll see. Okay. If you launch it via Steam, they have a Proton, which allows Windows games to run on Linux anyway. Awesome. So yeah, so I'm not going to say 100% just yet about the MZ Switch because something could go terribly wrong, and I'm like, naturally MV's better. But it's a maybe. It's a maybe, and I'll keep you updated, everybody, with the developments and how it all goes. Now carrying on with what we're doing, because we're doing dialogue today, and again, our Law Bible folks, if you want to follow us as we do the dialogue. Okay, so first thing we was doing was going to quickly, we was going to have a chat about what we gain and lose here. So there's 4 things that happen. I'm going to get a Google Doc up. So 1 sec. I'd rather just add notes in Google Doc than just mess up our dialogue tray. Here we go. My favourite phrase, guffa. I have a habit of doing this now. Okay, so looking at what happens. Carol hides from this mysterious life-or villager that we haven't made yet when, because obviously she got to show her fear of humans, especially mean ones who see her as a threat. And you as the hero get a choice to either tell the villager about the barrel or say nothing. And then this one will lead on to another 2 choices. I've got so many tabs open. Where you, when they threaten to smash Carol, you can like either back out or could be like, yeah, do it. And that's a dark box because that will really have a huge impact on your relationship with Carol. If you go as far as saying that, she might never forgive you. Be interesting. Even though I invested in them a bit, I have decided not to run with MV and Z myself. I don't really have a grasp on JS, but also I have trouble with GUI stuff, which is why I have issues with Unity. Recently been looking into Mono game with C# though. Ooh. So, have you ever used an RPG Maker engine though, Flav, or do you tend to just stick to other engines? Good thing with Monogame is a lot of information docs made for XNA transfer over well. Yeah, it used to be Ruby, didn't it? I remember when I was younger and tried out an older RPG Maker engine, it was Ruby, and I kind of like that one. But I don't remember much about it. I just messed about with it. Yeah, I don't know if we need to list these actually. We can just do it from here. So obviously this one will give you the least Carol Infinity points. If we copy this just as a... And probably it'll be the compassion scale that this affects. I don't know if this would really affect bravery, cowardly and foolish and wise. But a lot of these points in regards to the systems, like the morals and affinity, all this could easily be changed when we get to the balancing stage. This is all just like a sort of template foundation at the moment. We'll see what works when we play the game and need to balance. So could change that to Carol, of course. But I don't know whether this should make you lose compassion, actually, because you don't actually know the consequences of this, right, at this point in time. So I'm not sure about that one. Might change that, but definitely this one you would lose compassion, because it's pretty clear, you know, that smashing is pretty mean. And I'd go as far as saying it's a -5 because it's such a big deal. You're like basically saying, yeah, kill them, and that's a pretty bad action to allow and condone. It's definitely just as equivalent to pushing Fiona in the lake. In fact, it's probably worse than pushing Fiona in the lake. So that's a question as well. Should we even give it more than 5? Because -5 compassion for both compassion and affinity is what we lost with Fiona for pushing her in the lake. This could potentially be worse. So I'm willing to raise it if we feel that it should be. Don't Profit was probably just a dream. Might get nothing for that one. I don't know if you'd gain compassion for these two. It might just be nothing. Because you're not exactly being nice, you're just being avoidant. And Carol's certainly not going to like you much better. It's not like... It's definitely a thing to consider, and also whether it affects bravery and wisdom too, because it's potentially quite wise to pick the nothing from Carol's perspective, though. You played around in MZ and MZ a little. I'm just way more comfortable writing code than creating with a GUI. Yeah, it's funny because it's the other way around for me, but everybody's different. That's why humans are interesting. Purely code, no GUI. Love 2D, never heard of that one. Probably because it's not a GUI one, that's why. I'm a noob when it comes to pure code stuff. Community is fairly open, as is Unity Unreal to a degree. I have a bunch of friends who do things in C# and I'm a Java, not JavaScript developer, getting myself into C#. I think I may have asked this a month or two ago, but I forgot. Did you make the overlay on the bottom? The overlay on the bottom? What bottom? Just want to make sure that I know what you mean by bottom, because otherwise I might answer the question wrong. The characters walking across, some with names, some without. If you mean the program, to do that, it's Stream Avatars, the program. It's an extension that a few streamers use, actually, and I saw it on another stream and I was like, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that for Raindrop Chronicles characters, so that everybody can have a character on the screen who's got one, if that's what you mean. It looks like MZ characters. It is the characters from MZ. dependency from our game, but the program itself is stream avatars. Good morning, hi Van, how you doing? It's good to see you. Hope you're having a good. When is Wednesday, isn't it? I keep thinking it's Friday. So I'm not sure if you'd lose compassion there, because it's not. You're not exactly an asshole for saying that. You're just an ignorant fool.
Always happy to support you, smiley face.
But it depends. It's all about perspective, because the villagers are late for and thank you for telling them, but Carol wouldn't. Yay, Twitch Prime sub! Thank you for the 7 months, Van. I appreciate it. I got an emote there as well. There we go. That's a cute emote, isn't it? It's quite funny. And let's have some hype in chat, everybody, for that sub. I appreciate the support, man. Hi Matt, how are you doing? Good to see you. How you guys doing coming into the stream? We were rambling a little bit about me potentially switching to MZ, because it turns out more of my plugins are available on there now, but it's still not confirmed yet. I've got to do testing first to see if I should, because it might screw up and not work. But it's a maybe. There's a higher chance than before than I might switch. It's a little bit pricey, MV is, but MZ. I'm forever going to just call it MV with MZ. It's a little bit pricey. But I think there's a Steam sale soon. So I'm hoping it'll be on there. Right. One day I will be a dark red drop. You will. You'll be like me and Azrael. Because ours are dark red. I bought it when it was on sale. Did you? Yeah. See, I didn't. I should have probably got it, but I thought that it was so unlikely that I'd use it that I'd never bother. But now I'm actually thinking I might make the switch. There's just a couple of things that could work out better if I did make the switch. You see, obviously it would increase the development time for the first playable build a little bit, because I'd have to get all that implemented and everything ported over. But in the long run, it could be beneficial for the game and the project itself, making the switch. And add it to your wish list, Rose. You will get a notification about any discount. Will do. Will do for sure. But other than that, other than the MZ news, we're carrying on with dialogue today. Between last stream and today, I tidied up the sort of design of the dialogue trees, and I made sure all the dialogue worked and it was all laid out nicely, and we're just figuring out what you'd lose and gain in regards to morals and affinity points with Carol from these choices in this scene. And if anybody wants to have a closer look, it does update real time. As I update this, feel free to click on that link and you can see our embedded dialogue tree here, folks. Can't remember if there is, but there might be a port feature somewhere that someone has made for converting MV to MZ. Yeah, I just start a brand new project and do it manually, because I recently started a new project anyway, because my old project file was a big mess and really disorganised, the variables and switches and stuff, and I switched mapping tools from parallaxing to tiled, so it just made a sense to start fresh. So it's not going to be too bad to just do it manually, considering basically we just recently redid it anyway. If I was in the middle or the end of a project, then it'd be a different story. Would be an absolute pain in the butt to have to do it. You might wait to see if it goes on sale during Black Friday. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely keep an eye out, that's for sure. But I think there's a free trial. I hope there is. But if there is, I'm going to be testing on that first. I'm not willing to buy it unless I know for sure I'm going to go on that. I'm a blooming frugal. And I'm doing well today. Got up a bit late though. Well, lions are necessary, that's for sure. Okay, so for now, I have literally just given a -5 compassion for saying to the villager that yes, you can smash the barrel. But I was debating on whether to lose more compassion, actually, because comparing it to pushing Fiona in the lake, which also is -5 compassion, it's a lot more severe because you're murdering, well, you're not murdering someone, but you're letting someone murder someone. It's a barrel, so it's not a person, but barrels' lives are equal. So potentially that could be, it's definitely a lot worse to tell someone to murder a barrel than it is to push someone in a lake, you know. So I'd be willing to raise that loss of compassion there. But yes, don't worry, Carol doesn't die. She don't die, she's not getting killed off. There's not a branch that kills Carol off, even though you might at first think so. It's literally just so the savagery and the stakes are raised, so us as the player realise, you know, what the style of choices are like in this game. And also, so we got one branch where Carol is an absolute biatch to us because we've been awful, and another branch where she's a little bit nicer but still doesn't like us very much. So it's always fun. 2 versions of Carol, the one that despises us like nothing else, and the one that just dislikes us a little bit, but quite a bit. It would be a challenge to romance Carol if you did that in the beginning. Maybe there could be an achievement that's like, you nearly got Carol killed but you still romanced her at the end, you know. Something like that. We definitely gotta have an achievement system in the game for all the special, unique, different branches people went down. Equal rights for barrels, I know. It's what the story's all about. Somebody said earlier, thank you for the representation of barrels in this game. And I was like, yeah, this game's extremely ahead for its time. You know, we're considering the rights of objects. But seriously, it's a big deal. It's definitely very makes you think. Barrels are people too. Hi guys, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing today? I know we all love Carol, and thank you Ghost and everybody else that was here last stream for coming up with all those amazing insults. I picked 5 in particular that I felt were really good. With those 5 particular hero traits. They're adjustable if we feel we can change them and make them even better though, but for now that's a good base to go with. So she'll slam into you, tell you to get out. So that's exactly how the scene was before anyway. Nothing's changed in regards to that first dialogue box, but we've added more. We've got these variations of insults depending on what your hero looks like, and then she will tell us that it hurts her to have a weapon, you know, that it was sharp inside her. Bunghole, great word. Literally it's similar to bumhole, so there's a bit of, you know, relatability there with humans in Carol. And she gives us a little hint on what her quest is, but we don't find out much about it because she gets interrupted by this villager. And eventually we'll make that character get together, shape them, their look and their personality when the time comes. Bunker, hi Shingan, how you doing? Hi Arthur as well. How you guys doing? Welcome to the stream. Wrong box, no worries, that's real. No worries, I've done that myself. When I was modding for Rex a couple of months ago, I did a shout out in somebody else's chat. The other stream I had tabbed up, it was really embarrassing. Okay. And then she hides, and then that's when the severe choices begin that could affect your relationship with Carol. So that's going to take us on to the third scene in a bit, and we're going to get Carol confronting us at the start of the third scene. Obviously, what she says to us will be different depending on the actions we did here. So I'll have to work on this scene at some point because it is a bit of an expansion to what the scene originally was. There's a lot more going on, and obviously we'll have this mysterious NPC, which I'll probably just have as a silhouette at the start, but when we finally develop them, I'll actually put their sprite in properly in the scene. Oh, we've got quite a few raindrops actually. GG for collecting those. Not too bad. Not too bad, Shingan. Nearly in the top 100 as well. Okay, so I'm not going to add it to the outline yet because it'll just take our time today, and I want to focus on dialogue, so I'll do that off stream maybe. Okay. So one thing we do need to do is write the scene card up before we start the dialogue, because it's good to have an idea of what's going to exactly happen in the scene before we jump into the deep end. For me, that's kind of my style now. It's a little bit easier. And it's going to change massively, this scene it's very, very abrupt right now. Literally, she just insults you, and then, well, originally she just was like, I'm joining you, I'm going to be your infantry, no questions asked. We didn't add that box in, but that was the plan, that was how it was at the start. But we're going to expand it, we're going to make it show the reluctance of the hero a bit more, and Carol is gonna be a bit more persuasive and desperate. It's not gonna just happen instantly this time that she joins and that's it, no questions asked. And we'll do that in a bit. I did want to add an extra dialogue box to the Nigel scene though, folks. So we'll think about that too in a bit. Yeah, I've been kind of lurking. Well, that's awesome. I love my lurkers. Rex, oh my goodness, thank you for the 39 months, Carla's handsome. That is nearly 40 months. What the hell have I been streaming that long, really? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Rex has found his badge, so as you can see, he was one of the first. One of the very first subs ever. Let's have some hype in chat, everybody. Thank you, Azrael, for that hype for Rex. Appreciate that. How are you doing, Rex? Good morning to you. Hope everything's going okay on your end. Arrived first and still can't get rid of him. Good. He's never going away, ever. He's staying forever. Right, Rex. I'm doing pretty good today. Yay. Yay. Oh yeah, and Asriel, appreciate you for wanting to spread the word about Rex being a voice actor to the game dev world. That was very kind of you, because Rex did his demo reel recently. Voice acting, how cool. So if anybody's looking for voice actors, that's your man. That is indeed. No problem. Glad to help out. Yay. Yay, 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 yay. yeah, you should look at I think I've got this right. Better I've got it right. If you go on that Twitter link, it's on his pinned tweet. So you'll get to hear it yourselves. Yeah, it is appreciated. Watch your record on. Yeah, watch your record on. Rex, thank you, Dungeon Demon, for that follow. Welcome to our stream. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Alright guys, so let's get in with this dialogue. We've been rambling on a bit today, but we're going to get really into it now. Okay. So, I wanted to add an extra, literally just one box probably. Well, it might go a bit over that because there might be a bit of extra text in. But right now, the scene with Nigel's great, but there's just a bit of tension missing, I feel. I think we can turn it up a notch. At the part where we agree to go and look for her just before the quest gets unlocked, because his sister's gone missing, basically. That's just a summary of what his issue is. And he's scared because the forest is dangerous, things are coming to life. When we say we'll look for her, I think he should show how grateful he is a little bit more, because this guy's super polite. Delete that just a bit. Let's get the grid in the background so we can get... so I'm thinking just one extra box here. Let's see, we'll get it. So before he introduces himself, he could say something like, because we've said okay, so imagine how happy he's going to be now. He could say something like, and we've got to get in his tone of voice a little bit. He does a bit of stuttering quite a lot, because he's a nervous guy. Lots of ums, lots of stutters, and lots of eloquent words that he uses. So like he calls us honoured guest, for example. He's kind of very polite, very overly polite, weirdly so. Look at that, all that tech that I'll never understand. My little sister is called Fiona, is too formal. If he's talking about his 12-year-old sister to be more emotional in first person, I imagine her name is. Yeah, I guess that's the thing to think about, because one thing about Nigel is that he is formal. That's his tone of voice. So I get where you're coming from. You kind of have to be very careful with dialogue, because you want it to sound natural and not wooden. But from when writing a character that is actually very formal and very like well-mannered, extremely so, then I guess you gotta think, well, how would he say it? But yeah, it's definitely, it's probably not 100% perfect. A few lines could probably be adjusted. It's hard to sort of write such a posh, polite character. Okay, so, but yeah, feel free to say your thoughts, because you know, chances are I'll be considering it and give it a change if I feel like it's going to be better. Even this, especially this box that we're just about to write, because it's going to be a big mess. Trust me, it's going to be a big mess. So I'm going to just get in first thoughts about the sort of thing you could say first. I'm not going to think about the dialogue itself and if it works. We'll do that after. My sister's name is Fiona, maybe. Yeah, something like that. So, because it's one thing about games where there's no voice acting, like Raindrop Chronicles. It's just text based. It's even more of a challenge to make the characters sound unique from each other. So I'm very big on all the individual NPCs having a different way of speaking, just so they stand out a bit more and use their own personal phrases as well. I mean, we've done this for Carol so far. We've got a most common phrases box, and I think I want to do that for the others too, because so we can make sure that they remain consistent. Nigel might not be 100% perfect yet, but we can get that with him. But yes, definitely share your thoughts about Nigel and how to effectively write a formal, very extra, overly polite character who is trying to impress. Can be so complicated and every voice is different. Okay, so you will, he'd be like, you're such a brave. Now, I was thinking individual just because he's posh, but I don't know about that word yet. We need to put more emphasis on what's happening in the forest, especially with the NPCs where we're forced to talk to them because of the main quest. I'm sure that optional NPCs will talk about it too, but we need to make sure that players that are only doing the main quest minimum know the threat as well. So, although he kind of does say that here, I know that isn't very long, but the forest is becoming more dangerous every day. Although he does say it there, these are optional questions. I don't want to be too repetitive, so obviously it'd be cooler if this dialogue box had a little bit of different info in here compared to what's in that one, despite it being optional. But basically, I wanted him to be shocked that someone's willing to do this, that someone is willing to go in that forest to kind of emphasise the danger and add a bit of tension. Just so we know it's not a super peaceful forest, more so. Also to show that he flatters people very easily to get his own way. So that flattering of calling them a brave individual. And also something like many either warriors or hunters, whatever the class name is, I kind of make that grey so that it doesn't blend in too much with the text. Stay. Actually, this could probably go on a new line. Many Okay, so this might be a bit wordy, and we could make it a bit more concise, maybe. But, and I don't want this to be too telly either. Telling over showing, but sometimes you need to do it. But I'm trying to think the most effective way of increasing that tension and showing that fear that people are feeling here. Even fighters are feeling it. And as someone who's the innkeeper, he's going to have seen that. So it's not nice to put a bit of focus onto his livelihood as well. A bit more development. Anyway, I'm going to catch up with chat. I've been rambling. Yours is pretty casual, depending on how formal or nervous he is. I really like how you're plotting these dialogues out. Thank you, guys. It's like an upgraded Scarlet, but the floor a little live lead meters. Ooh, when everyone talks about sound, my brain goes blank because I literally don't know much about that at all. But yeah, feel free to talk about it though. Don't not talk about it just because I don't understand. I want you guys to make friends too. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so what do you guys think about this line so far? I mean, individual. Let's look at the thesaurus. Person, human being, mortal, soul, creature, thing, boy, woman, lady, girl. Yes. So I think it's just obviously going to be a bit easier to use gender neutral terms for things. An individual could be a word Nigel would say for a person as someone who's a bit formal. So we've said, I'll look for her. And he's like, shocked, you will. You're such a brave individual to go in the forest. Into the forest. That forest. I feel like saying into that forest sounds a bit more stronger than into the forest, but I don't know. With all that's been happening lately, many warriors stay in our beds and I see them shaking under the sheets at the thought of head. Well, yeah, that's a little bit repetitive. If we've said into the forest there, we don't need to say it again there. So, Well, that works. So many hunters stay in our beds and I see them shaking under the sheets at the thought. Yeah, that might get to the point enough, right? Travelling into the forest with all that's been happening lately. Oh, travelling is a much stronger verb than go. I agree. You're such a brave individual. Travelling into that forest. The forest with all that's been happening lately. To travel, maybe. I don't know if it. Yeah, I'm not 100% like sold by the way that sentence is structured, but I do like the word travel or travelling. So I think it's a little bit more stronger than go, but. And he's posh as well. If it was more of a casual person, they'd probably use go over travel. But this guy's very formal. So he's probably going to use some more eloquent verbs. Recently, lately. Hi Vance, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Recently. Where's recently hiding from me? Oh, there. With all that's been happening. Yes, that's a good thing. Lately and recently. Recently. Lately, but interesting. Because they both mean similar things, right? But I'm kind of thinking, yeah, maybe recently sounds better. Thank you, Vance. Welcome. Wouldn't you are such a brave soul be an independent sentence? Oh, that could work. You're such a brave soul. And I think that could be very Nigel, actually, the word soul. What do you guys think? Because I liked individual, but it's a bit like long and it's got so many syllables. So with it being such a pretty long sentence already, I might prefer the more short and sweet approach to that. Switching it in my head, I was well, that means brave soul is what it should be. whatever's most natural, right? That's the thing with dialogue. We just want it to sound natural. And with someone like Nigel, with him being so formal, he's got an excuse for being a bit more wooden than the usual person. But we still want it to sound natural, right? And I know that you mentioned a rewording potentially of this sentence here, but I'll look at the VOD, back at the VOD for that one, because we're going to get into the Carol scene today. I want to get as much done as possible about it. But yeah, the description of I see them shaking under the sheets at the thought. Would adding at night be redundant? Staying in our beds kind of gets the point. You truly have my deepest respect. Yes, you need that tension so that the audience is like, oh gosh, this forest must be really dangerous. This is a big deal going here. It just makes things a little bit more interesting than it just being a boring old forest with nothing happening. And considering we know stuff's happening in it, makes more sense to make the most of it in our dialogue and show that off. Never thought to look for creative writing type streams before. Yeah, it's not really something that's done on Twitch a lot, really, but it's part of it's the nature of our project. We're making a RPG game in this stream, a single player RPG 2D, and it's very story rich, very dialogue driven, so naturally there's going to be quite a lot of story and dialogue streams. It's kind of really the reason what I'm most interested in, actually, I'll be honest, in regards to the game development. The idea of creating a world and a story is the appeal to me, more than the mechanics and all that side of things. I mean, yeah, mechanics are still cool, but I'm a story person. That's me. I think that it's 2 sentences though. If he's clipped, he shouldn't string words like that. What are we referring to here? Which part? And thank you so much for that follow, by the way, Vance. Thank you very much. I think that is 2 sentences. If he's clipped, he wouldn't string words like that. Oh yes, so I think you mean this bit. Many stay in our beds. What do you mean by clipped? So I'm like trying. I don't know I'm silly. I'm sly sometimes. Many stay in our beds. If you meant that, then that it should be 2 sentences, and I've kind of done that. I don't know. Oh, you meant the brave soul bit. Sorry, I was slow. You're such a brave soul. Oh, so you mean he should, it should stop there. So, you're such a brave soul. Many stay in our beds. I see them shaking under the streets at the thought. Yeah, so it's just thinking of how blooming dialogue, it takes some thinking when it comes to structuring it, but it's rewarding because you get that dialogue for it. I ain't having no rushed, silly, sloppy dialogue, that's for sure. I imagine a clipped person speaking be like, you're such a brave soul, pause breathing, travelling into the forest with all that's been happening recently. Yeah, so now I've always wondered, does travelling have 2 L's or 1 L? Because I think it's different depending on if you're UK or US. And I'm going to stick to the British spelling just for consistency. I think it's 2 L's for that, but I'm going to look at all that stuff off stream, all those little details. We'll keep it like that for now, unless I realise after it should be just 1 for the British spelling. It's either, yeah. Travelling into the forest with all that's been happening recently. Would that make sense to trail off with like with 3 periods, like, because it kind of sounds like the sentence would be like that, like he's sort of like trailing off. That's kind of my first thought anyway. I think we're getting there. If there's any final thoughts on that sentence, feel free to share them. But we will be moving on to the carol scene now. I think, it was worth having a think about that and adding that extra detail, because there was a lack of tension in this scene for sure. We've amped it up a notch. Ellipsis implies that there's something else going on, like so I think it works. Yeah, it just feels right and natural to have the ellipsis on that bit. And eventually, at some point, I'm going to make a dialogue box like this for Nigel, most common phrases. Because I think there's definitely a few common Nigel phrases here that we can consistently use. Okay. So, GG, guys. GG. Thank you, Ghost, for your thoughts. Here we go, then. So, the carol scene. Now, this is going to be completely... It's actually quite bad at the moment, because it's a bit rushed and unfinished. But, before we begin and completely expand upon it, I want to just quickly fill in a really rough... I'm not going to think about it too much, but I just want to roughly fill in the scene. I've also changed the title to You. It used to be Carol Meets the Hero, and the other day it was all the hero above the choices, but now I've changed it to You because I just think it's a little bit easier, a little bit easier to follow. Okay. I don't know why every time I paste into Draw.io it goes on a new line. So I'm going to have to do it manually. I recently discovered how to do an N dash and an M dash on keyboard. I've memorised it now. So this is Carol Joins You. I'm gonna just fill in the main bits because it's gonna just help more when we do the scene if we get the general structure in mind first. So we haven't... Oh gosh, I've just realised something. Yeah, this is in the inn, not Carol Joins You. So I haven't even filled in the Nigel scene card yet, but I'm going to have to. But we'll focus more on the Carol one first. Keyboard ASMR. Again. I'm not going to bother filling in those bits yet. I've made them this colour scheme because this is the colour scheme of the chat box, actually. It's the exact same colour scheme as our Twitch chat box overlay. And it's the episode 1 colours. Everbloom Forest kind of have those colours. So I'll probably, like, every time we start a new episode, in regards to episode development, so when we start episode 2, I'm going to do a new overlay that has episode 2's colours, because this overlay is very Everbloom Forest and will be going on to different zones in future episodes. Okay, so what happens now? This scene card is like a really effective way to plan scenes. There's a book, that actually has this in it. I believe Lisa Cron is the author of the book. And it's really, really cool. Like, if it wasn't for these scene cards, I wouldn't have even had the idea in the first place to expand the Carol scene. So it can really help a ton for getting those ideas rolling for where to take the plot, and bury things that are very under the surface in regards to your story that you might have neglected or not thought about. So Carol approaches you and tries everything she can to... I won't say that, so I'll just say Carol approaches you and tries to convince you to let her join. You, because this is why I added this dialogue box here, because without that it would make no sense why she'd want to join us in the first place. We know that she's got an agenda now. An attempt. Oh, what was I saying? I forgot the context of what I was saying. Bounce. I'm forgetful. Okay, so, and the scene ends. Alright, we'll start with this before we do the second half of the scene. So, why this is such a big deal? You know, this is important to fill in, because without this, your story just nobody's going to care. It's got nothing, no meaning to it, no internal stuff going on. So, before this scene, Carol realised someone with a weapon could help her out, which we know from that, though if I had someone with one of those, they could help me find my... So that's what that's all about. Before this scene, Carol realised someone with a weapon could help her out, perhaps even protect her and make sure she doesn't get damaged by humans. So we haven't done like Carol's backstory too thoroughly just yet. We know that she's got a family of barrels that she sort of felt very at home with, and felt like that's why she's finding them, because she feels like her kin are the only people she feels like she can belong within the world. So we know about her barrel family, but we don't know her individual past and her own individual struggles just yet. And I guess I could imagine that life has been pretty hard for Carol, being in a big scary world as a living barrel, and she's probably felt threatened, and her life has been at stake a number of times, and now she's taking the step to use you to be her bodyguard and protector, though she's not going to admit that to you, because you'll just be like, sod off, I'm not being your protector. She's going to be sneaky about it. An armed adventurer, yes, exactly. Us, the hero, is her perfect thing that she's been waiting for. But it's hard for Carol because she doesn't trust humans, so it's a risk as well. That's what this comes in, because it's a risk being with a human, especially if you tried to get her killed. You know, she's gonna hate your guts, and she's gonna probably think that you're gonna kill her too. So she's gonna obviously have to be smart about this, so you don't kill her. And this is how we're gonna do it. So Carol, in the second part of this scene that we're going to write, Carol is going to watch you struggle to fit items in your pocket. We sort of started writing this recently, and that's actually already there in our dialogue tree, but it's unfinished. It was the very beginnings of Carol watching us struggle to fit items in our pocket. And she figures out the perfect role. She figures out her perfect role is to be your inventory. Do you know about role? Job, role? You know, it's the same thing. Carol realises being with you is a huge risk, but also realises every hero needs an inventory. Even the worst of them. And that's thanks to Vandalia, because Vandalia said that last stream, every hero needs an inventory, even the worst of them. And it's a fact. That is literally the truth here. And the fact is, Carol knows that as long as she's holding all your precious items, you won't hurt her. Yeah, because burning a barrel or smashing a barrel that's got some very precious equipment in it would literally not be smart for a hero to do. Your stuff would be ruined. So Carol's life is, she's pretty all right with the idea that her life's okay while she's the role of the inventory for the hero. So even if you've been a complete and utter asshole and nearly got her smashed by the Lightfall villagers, she's like, well, I've got one up on you here. You're not gonna hurt me. Okay, so really that's it. So now we've got a bit of an understanding of the scene, which is helpful because it's going to be easier to write the dialogue for it now that we understand it. I haven't fit in a summary yet because I'll do that after. Subplots, I don't know if there's any really happening. I don't know if there's any subplots really happening, but we need to think, because before the subplot was the villagers for scene 1. Villagers show their fear of how dangerous the forest has become, and the subplot for the heroes, you were hiding in this barrel for some reason, which it's still a big question mark why right now. But you know, the question's there, the question's being raised, why you were even in Carol in the first place. And maybe there are some subplots here, but I can't think of any just yet. But you know, sometimes you just have to shovel out the hidden stuff in a scene, because there's always something there. But the only characters here are Carol and the hero right now. Okay, so I think that's okay so far. We haven't filled in that yet. We'll do that another time. Now we can actually start the dialogue. Now that we have done that scene card, we'll have to refer to that scene card now and again, I think, just to remind ourselves with the scene. So we'll keep that there, nicely there. I've got a Google Doc up just in case we need to make some rough notes. But we're all right so far. All right, my goodness, this is gonna be really expanded. It's very basic so far. Right now, it's just you leave Lightfall and get stopped by the barrel. She has a go at you. You kill a plant, you pick up a leaf, she says that you can't pick stuff up and calls you hopeless. To be continued. Right, so this is going to be very expanded upon. So I'm going to just write a very basic framework for the things that need to happen in this scene, actually. Because I think that's going to be a little less overwhelming. Okay. So the first thing she's going to do is confront you. Which we already started here. She confronts you, but the difference is this time there's going to be a variable because of the choices that you made here. So depending on what you did, there's going to be 3 outcomes to what Carol's going to say to you here. Nice music. Thank you so much, Arthur. We got some beautiful background Final Fantasy music and general RPG game music in this channel. It generally is pretty safe from copyright things and all that. So video game music's awesome to play on streams. I'm glad you're enjoying it. But yes, based on the choices that have been made, there's 3 different ways Carol's going to think about you. She's gonna the one she's gonna hate the most is the hero that did this. She's gonna insult you to death. It's gonna be fun thinking up that dialogue. The next one she's gonna not be so happy with is this one. Because you sort of grassed her up, but you backed out last minute, so she's not going to hate you quite as much as that one. Just a little bit. She's going to be like, what do you mean? It's a dream, I'm real. So, and then the other one, the third one, is this hero. So there's 3 different versions that are going to go on there. So, 3 different variations, so remember. So what we see down here right now, we're gonna have to think of variations. We can take some of that, we can take some of this for the variations, but we're gonna add new dialogue onto that as well. So that's gonna be fun. The next thing that's gonna happen is you are gonna react. React. I don't know why the things aren't being sensible. There we go. So you react based on what Carol says to you. You as the hero are going to have a dialogue or an action to take in response to what she's said. So then Carol so as for reactions, it'd probably be something like, just so we got an example, so we got something to draw weapon, run away in fear, shake hands, only because that's completely ironic considering Carol doesn't have any hands. LOL. She'd probably be a bit annoyed if you did that. But these are based on the fact that I asked the community a couple of streams ago how they would react if they met a barrel. And a lot of people said they'd run away in fear, funnily enough. So I feel like the running away in fear should be one option. And I actually think this dialogue here, you're not going anywhere without me, you know, that's something she would say as you're running off in fear. So I think that would suit that particular branch. So, and there's always going to be that player that's more aggressive. So a draw a weapon reaction and shake hands for the friendly but pretty sarcastic, teasing approach. Because I don't want the hero to be too nice to Carol this early on. You know, there's even the nicest hero is still going to have a very questionable relationship with Carol at this start stage of the game and the arc. So a reason, considering that, I'm thinking of scrapping the romance potential thing that's happening here, because I think it's a little bit early, in all honesty. We are going to have some Carol romance interactions, of course, in Main Quest 2 and Main Quest 3 as well, and it'll just escalate more and more throughout the saga. But I don't know if it's appropriate when all this is happening, because this is the very start of the relationship, and the hero's still getting their head around Carol. And I figured that this scene would be very interesting if the hero barely says anything, to be honest, and it's just Carol rambling on to herself, trying to convince them to join, if she can join. And the hero's either running away, or something like that, while she's having her little say. Carol needs to lighten up, lol. Yeah, she's a Sundayer. The way she hates you will be fun, breaking up tension in the game as she insults you every so often, even mid-fight if possible. Yeah. And I like the handshake thing. You can have her get angry and say something like, does it look like I have hands? Exactly. I was thinking something similar, but the way you've worded that is perfect. I couldn't visualize the sentence in my head, her response, but that's the perfect response. And it's going to be fun today, guys, because we're going to think of all Carol's horrible, mean dialogue together. But that's the balance with Carol. She's mean, but she's not going to be hateable. We're still going to find her really endearing, and we're going to be entertained by her and curious about her. I think as soon as she starts, if we're starting to feel like Carol's becoming horrible in an extreme way, we'd have to rework the dialogue a bit, because she's a lovable angry person. That's kind of what we're trying to create here, I guess. And I have Carol be a secret romance. Only specific interactions get you there. Carol is literally the OTP of the whole thing. I would go as far as saying that Carol romance is the main romance of the story, but obviously she's not going to be the only one. There'll be other characters that we meet that will be romanceable options. Carol's just the first one we meet that is. But everyone in a way is a secret romance, because nobody's going to outright say, you can romance me, Mr. Hero or Mrs. Hero. Nobody's going to say that. Everybody's pretty, in real life, people are pretty reserved in regards to things like that. And you have to get to know them first and warm up to them before anything starts getting romantic. So it's going to be like that with our NPCs, and in regards to Carol romance, it's not even going to get started until probably episode 3 or 4, and because Carol's going to be even when it starts happening, she's going to be in denial, because it's just so hard for her to believe that a human would fall for a barrel. It's part of her whole character arc and disbelief. So, okay. So, next bit, what is coming up that we have to do? So, Carol says she's joining you. Now, this is just rough, by the way. It's just sort of a structure that I want to get there. So, we've got a structure for this scene, because the whole point of this scene is for Carol to approach you and try to convince her to let her join you. That's the very first part of the scene, so we need to start that early, which is why I'm trying to get it in as soon as we've reacted to her confrontation. Now, I figured that the hero will be doing a lot of ignoring of Carol and walking away, because at this point in the game, the hero, even the nicest of heroes, is probably going to be a little bit Carol's a strange one. So that's going to happen. We also have to be careful not to have too many hero choices going on in this scene, because it could get a bit insane, the branching off. So we'll keep it minimal. I'm thinking this hero reaction and one at the end of the scene from the hero will be enough. So we got to be. There's not going to be much hero dialogue at all in this scene. It's just Carol talking to herself, because the hero doesn't talk. The only time the hero talks is if there's a dialogue choice. They're not going to talk off their own back. That's not what we've done. So, next bit. So as we walk away, Carol will ask to be recruited. So I guess that's the word. Because she's desperate. She's like, oi, wait up. I can be this for you. Don't walk away. Now, this now, I've thought of something else that would work better. I figured you could walk away again and pick something up off the ground. Because the way we did it before, the plan was for us to fight a monster. And then the loot, there would be a scene after the fight where we pick up the loot from the battle. But I'm kind of feeling I don't want to fight in the middle of this scene to interrupt the glorious conversation and Carol monologue happening here. So instead of actually triggering a fight that's going to disrupt the immersion and the conversation, I figured the hero could just pick up a plain old item on the floor, because there's going to be items on the ground anyway. There's going to be like shinies, like in Dark Souls, you get like a shiny item. There's going to be things like that on the maps, on the floor, because you'll need potions, you'll need herbs to heal poison and any status effects you get, such as that. So for sure, there could just be a random item on the floor the hero could pick it up, instead of actually bothering to go through the whole fight business. The fights will happen, but after this scene. Plus, the bad thing about having a fight interrupt this is it's gonna divide our attention, because we'll suddenly be thinking, oh, what's this monster we're fighting, and that's gonna have our full attention instead of Carol. So it just kind of would distract from the scene a little. Does she say oi, or however you spell that? Because that's oi, awesome. She'd say oi, but not with a Y. She'd say it with an I. So that would need to go here. Oi. It's a great word, isn't it? She's got a bit of sass, Carol has. We've got to remember that. So, those sassy phrases. If anyone in chat right now has got any really sassy phrases or little words like that they particularly like, feel free to say, because we're developing a sassy character here who's got a bit of attitude, and these are the key phrases we have for Carol so far, and they're going to be a repeated thing to get that character across and let it be unique. So feel free to share if you got any guys. Hero walks away knowing Carol, fine, I'll come with you. We will need to toughen you up though. Begging me like that is a little pathetic. Hero's look of utter confusion. Just like Carol has no chill. Pathetic's definitely a word Carol would use a lot. And hopeless. All those like horrible negative words. But, she's a realist. She's cynical. Cynical realist. Because Carol's the orphan archetype. She is after belonging, and she fears exclusion, and she's cynical, open and a realist. You can't get more Carol than that. And she's an ENTJ. Carol just has no chill. Oh gosh, no. She's the opposite of chill, that's for sure. From what little I know of Carol so far, it sounds to me like she wouldn't ask but force her agenda more. What if she was bossier here? I love that. Yeah, so when we think of the dialogue together, right, this is just the outline here, but we'll be going straight into writing the dialogue very shortly. When we think that dialogue, we need to make sure we get the Carol attitude and approach nailed. So we can't have her be passive or anything like that, or weak. Any weaknesses Carol has, we know she's got fears. She fears being damaged by humans, but she's never going to admit that in a million years. So she's going to try her best to cover up and mask any weakness and fears, and get bossy, get sassy, and that. So yeah, obviously when we write dialogue, it's so easy to slip and do dialogue that might not fit her perfectly, and if that's the case, we'll just give it a little rewrite until we nail it, is all. That's what we'll do. And she delegates the hero to kill stuff while she holds their belongings, and we don't use that in America much, the word "or." Yeah, I think it's quite British, isn't it? 5 wouldn't be asked to be recruited, it would be more assumes ownership of the party. That's true. So asked to be recruited is a very polite way to put it, So she's definitely going to be more aggressive here. Carol will I'm trying to think of how to word this, because I don't want to put us into a box where we're not flexible with what potential dialogue she could say. So we'll force her way into joining the party. Something as simple as that. Something strong. We'll think a bit more specifically in a bit. I just want a general description of what she's trying to do. Right, look at those tiny little pockets. You are hopeless. We need to toughen you up before you can properly work for me. Walks off. Lol. So we'll think about it, that's for sure. There's definitely a lot of things to consider with this scene, and we might not finish it perfectly today, though. We'll probably end the scene with a lot of different thoughts, but we'll get there. I'm looking forward to putting our heads together and getting the best possible scene. So you we don't need could. You walk away and pick something off the ground, and that's going to lead to when Carol will inspect us, mock us. Why has that done that? She will inspect us, mock us, and offer to be our inventory. Now, obviously, the way that all happens isn't going to go as smoothly as that, but I suppose that's what Carol wants ultimately. She wants to be with the hero because she wants to make sure she's got this guy with an axe or a bow, and she is not going to let them walk away. So we could give the direction where she plays a bit hard to get, but ultimately Carol, she's got her eyes set on this hero. She's not going to let them out of her sights. She's a lady on a mission, and she's going to boss her way into being that inventory. At this point, I suppose the hero will agree to tolerate her. I think tolerate's a very important word here, because tolerate doesn't mean enjoy the company of or like very much. And I think that's what episode 1 is kind of about, really. We're sort of just tolerating Carol at the start of this game. We don't enjoy her, we don't like her, and we're certainly not in love with her at this point in time. She's going to grow on us throughout the adventure, potentially. So it's just tolerating at this point in time. There's going to be that reluctance we have to obviously show as the hero, but we'll probably make sure we have two choices. One will be a bit harsher and one will be a bit nicer, but still a bit like, well, I'll tolerate you then. The nicer one is probably going to be where he admits he'll agree to tolerate her, but there could be a harsher one. And then I think that's really it. I suppose we'd conclude the scene where Carol gives a hint of her goal. So I figured if we give a tiny hint of her goal here, it would just be a hint that's a little bit more of a clue, a tiny bit more of a clue than this. Just a little bit of an expansion on it, but not revealing it fully. We're going to find out about it fully in Main Quest 2. So we got to add that mystery. Oh, what's Carol? What's she doing? What's she looking for? So that's our outline. So let's get started then. Let's get started. I'm excited, and I've got a bazillion tabs. So, as we said, we're going to just remove the romance one at this point in time. I had some really good dialogue suggestions for flirty sort of interactions with Carol from the community a few streams back. Don't worry, they're not going anywhere. We're going to use those when the time's right to flirt with Carol. It's just a bit early at this point in time. So we've got here, we're going to delete that because we're not going to have the battle anymore. It's going to happen in the scene where he picks up the item now, so it can all flow seamlessly without a battle interrupting the middle of it. I'm going to keep that there because that's a wonderful piece of dialogue that I think we should use for the moment she inspects the hero's pockets. But so we'll just keep that there for now. We might move it a bit further up though in a sec. Okay, so you leave Lakeful and get stopped by the barrel. Now step one is the confrontation. And there's going to be 3 different variations to this confrontation. We're not just having the one anymore. Because, like I said, we have 3 different possible variables from what happened back in scene 1. I'm curious what chat would do here out of all these things. Would you grass Carol up, or would you say nothing? What would you do, chat? Is Carol a were-barrel? What's the were-barrel? And right, look at all those highly... Yeah, I've already read that bit, I think, didn't I? I've got to make sure I don't lose the dialogue you guys have said, but I can always look back on my chat on my bot if it disappears on Slobs. Sometimes Slobs doesn't like me scrolling back, but I can do it on my bot, no worries at all. Okay. So we've got to think of the 3 different confronting variations now. So let's get organised. I'm going to copy this because this is a great sort of template for when there's different variables. Let's get the grid. Password. Okay, so we still don't know that her name's Carol, but I'm assuming at the end of the scene, during this, probably here, we'll have an introduction sequence. Okay. So, we have 3 different versions. How are we going to word this then? So if we worded it for Fiona, the way we worded it was if you didn't push her in the lake. So we'll start with if you so we'll do this one first. So if you agreed to get Carol smashed. Is that the best way to put it? If you agreed to get Carol killed, I'm thinking of the best. If you told the villager to smash Carol into pieces. Well, it wasn't into pieces. That's a little bit a bit exaggerated, but that's basically the gist of it. I don't know why I put Carol in, because we don't know her name's Carol yet. So, if you told the villager to smash her, okay. And then the other one is if you. I'm gonna have to review what the dialogue actually says, because I even forget myself. If you thought you were dreaming. If you told the villager you were dreaming. So the first one's obviously Carol at her most angry. This would be Carol when she's a little bit peed off. And this would be Carol when she's actually probably a little bit grateful, but she'd never admit it. So if you told the villager nothing. So there's 3 different outcomes there. And again, folks, I'm going to make sure you got a link to this dialogue tree so you can follow with us and look back at what happened in the first scene if you did miss it. Okay, so if you told the villager to smash her, the reason I always put the random lesson is because we lose the font formatting and it can be a bit frustrating, so I'll put text instead. Okay, so if you told the villager to smash her, she's going to be really not happy, so I'm going to put in a sort of template, I guess. So feel free to give thoughts on it as we write this, guys. So, out of all the flashbacks I've met, you are one of the worst. You are we gotta go really over the top with this one because she's gonna be furious. Let's really imagine she would nearly be murdered by. You're gonna not be happy. Simply despicable. I hope a giant tree eats you or something. Now we're gonna have to make that longer. Now whatever she says in these 2 boxes aren't going to be quite as intense as what she says in this one. This is Carol at her most angry. So feel free to give your thoughts, guys. If there's any things popping in your head about this sentence, we've got to get in Carol's personality right now. Back, being in a meeting. Welcome back, Van. We are just starting scene 3 and the big expansion of it. I've wrote a rough little outline here of what's going to happen in the scene, step by step, just so we've got something to go with. And the scene card is here as well. And this we have to make sure this whole scene covers all these things. So step 1 is the confrontation though. So Carol confronts you based on what happened in Lakefall. So this would be if you told the villager to smash her. She's not going to be happy. So flashbacks is a word that Carol calls humans, and it kind of sticks. I think this is the first time the word flashback will have been used so far, actually, because she actually didn't say it in this scene. She didn't. What a surprise. I feel like does nothing options will more often than not feel like a poor story choice by the player. Yeah, so that's something as well. I wondered about that myself, actually, if we go back to this. We basically, it has to be the passive response, because you're kind of trying to say, look, nothing's going on here. You're sort of protecting Carol in this option. So if there's a more active, something better than just nothing, that would still lead to this dialogue where you're like being told to get cleaned up, then that's fine. But ultimately this is the best option for your relationship with Carol, because Carol has panicked and hid. So if you are sort of observing this scene as the audience, you are going to realise that by saying that you're protecting the barrel. If you're observant, the nothing is the good Carol option. But yeah, I'm up for thinking if there's any thoughts, because nothing's coming to my head just yet for what could go in there other than just nothing. Because it's as simple as being like, nothing's going on here. Nothing's going on here. There's nothing going on here. And then you get accused of being drunk for making the ruckus yourself. Trick or treat, hi Sky Blue. I want a treat, please. Treat every time for me. No tricks. And how are you doing now, Sky? I hope you're having a good day. Curiosity could be the driving force behind doing nothing. I want a treat. I think everyone wants treats, right? So what do you mean by curiosity? Because I'm very keen on if you guys do have thoughts about this particular box. But you basically, whatever it's going to be, it's got to be the nothing's going on here option. I mean, we could always just say nothing's, give a bit more personality to the dialogue, I suppose, so it's just not plain old nothing. Something like, nothing's happening here. Sir, or whatever we want to say, we don't even know who it is. But we could always inject a bit more personality in that, but it is the avoidant one, you know, we can't really stray off from what it is, because it'll just mess up the branches and the different Carol relationships. I missed a bit since I've been on calls. All right, well, if you get time, no rush at all. You know, if you ever get time, we've got the embedded dialogue trees on our Law Bible, so I'll put the link in chat. I'm curious as to where this goes, which results in waiting and doing nothing. That's true as well. So I kind of agree. Like, the people that would probably admit that the barrel was there would be the players that are just a bit more. I would be the one that would say nothing if I was playing it, but I'm always a good person when I play games. I never want to hurt anybody. So anybody who's more of the rogue sort of hero might decide to confess that Carol was there to the villager. Who knows? I'm intrigued if anybody would here do that to Carol for pure evilness and entertainment. Okay, so if you told the villager you were dreaming, what would Carol say then? Right, so I've got an idea. I don't know about the word lovely, but the other word is beautiful, but I might be a little bit arrogant. Carol is she's very arrogant, Carol is. So she would call herself lovely. This lovely barrel you're looking at is very real. I can assure you of that. I suppose facial expressions we could consider, because Carol has different facial expressions. She has a disgusted face. She has like an awkward sort of face. So she would probably look a bit like annoyed. She doesn't have much patience for the hero in this particular dialogue branch, but she's not as angry at them as she would be in that one, of course. So I think she should still look angry though, because we need to show that she's kind of a bit peeved off at the idea that the hero doesn't believe she's real, because it makes her feel like bad. Again, it brings out the fact that she doesn't feel accepted in the world. Hi Zane Faye, how are you doing? I'm from England, Zane. Welcome to the stream and thank you very much for kind words. It's good to meet you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Jumps and is, well, I think the dialogue here speaks for itself. I'll say looks annoyed. I'd say it's more annoyed here than angry. That's angry. This is annoyed. Now, if you told the village nothing, this is the interesting one now. In fact, I was thinking of pushing this one a little bit more further and having an insult thrown in. One sec. Let me do a bit of... just get the... dictionary thesaurus up, because I've got an idea, but I want to make sure we use a good word for this. Okay, so I'm trying to think of a better word than ugly, basically, because I think ugly is a bit not very creative. So I was thinking of this lovely barrel. You are, look, you're, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there could be an insult here. Something like this lovely barrel your ugly mug is looking at is very real. But I don't know about those particular words. And I don't like the word ugly. I think we can get a bit more descriptive. Ugly's a bit generic. Your nasty face. Your yeah, maybe we shouldn't use something that's as strong as an insult. Nasty face, ugly face might be a bit strong for this option, but it's kind of be cool to make it show that Carol thinks that we're not very appealing. You know, we're not like as appealing as her. She thinks she's lovely. We're not. your backwards face. This, yeah, how would we structure such a sentence? Because what I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know if it works. So this lovely barrel your backwards face is looking at is very real. It might be a bit overly wordy. But I do like the phrase. But I don't know if the flow is there. I just feel like it could be pushed a bit further, you know, to just get the Carol sass in a bit more. It's lacking. I mean, she's complimenting herself, which I like. I like that she thinks highly of herself, and we're showing that. But I feel like it could be even stronger if there's an extra insult in there, just to sort of put the knife in you as the hero a little bit more. Would she refer to herself as a barrel? Is she the same as run-of-the-mill barrels? She would. She's very aware that she's a barrel, and she's kind of proud of it. So she hasn't really got any sort of like there's nothing going on here where she doesn't know who she is or anything like that. She's pretty aware of her existence, because she's got a family, you see. She's got there's a family of fellow barrels that she's part of, but she's trying to find them. So you can see a picture of them all on the Law Bible, actually, if you'd like to. The hero calling her, now she's proud of her barrelness. She's very much embraced being a barrel, but she just she feels that barrels aren't accepted in the world. That's kind of what she's unhappy with. She feels like she's not tolerated. Well, she's not even liked, or, you know, it kind of sucks for Carol to be treated that way. I can understand why she's a bit mad, but no, she's not insecure about who she is, not at all. She's very like I say, got a bit of arrogance there. Your goofy face. Goofy's a brilliant word. Would Carol use it though? Goofy's a really nice word, I think. I wouldn't mind being called goofy, but Carol's very hostile and kind of mean. So I'm trying to think of what words she'd use, like vile, foul, and all those kind of horrible words are very kind of Carol. Do we smash barrels for items in this game? No. Well, not if they're alive. Items are gonna probably, we haven't even decided, it's still up in the air with items. I guess it depends on the item. If it's a herb, it would probably just be on the ground, in all honesty, because this is a forest. But you know, I'm gonna try and go with realism when it comes to items. So wherever you'd imagine seeing them. I've always thought it was weird to me how a treasure chest would be in the middle of somewhere where it shouldn't be, with an item in it in a game. In RPGs, it's always been a bit strange, but it's kind of the thing. I know it's the thing. It's common knowledge that things are in chests in RPG games, but we're kind of going against that trope. Your ridiculous face, your feather face, your loony face. I like the word ridiculous very much. I think that's very Carol. I like it. I honestly really just wanted to insult him in this sentence, but it just won't. I don't think the flow is going to work. But I'm going to... Thanks for the suggestion, because I am going to bookmark those. I think ridiculous needs to be used for sure. I mean, feather-brained is a great word too, but I can imagine another NPC using that word. More of a goofy character, a funny character, for sure. I was more thinking the interaction possibilities with Carol getting upset. Oh, Carol's an extremely defensive person. She'd probably get upset at a lot of things. But I don't know if calling her a barrel, because calling her a barrel is a fact. There's nothing really like Like it's like if someone called me a woman, I'm not going to be butthurt about it because I am a woman. But you know, she would probably, if there's like a real definite intent to hurt there, she would be upset if the intent to be mean or and that, because she's a pretty defensive person, that's for sure. Maybe at the insult at the end, this lovely bow you're looking at is very real. I can assure you that you dimwit. That might work actually, because it's that this sentence is a bit plain at the moment. So I think adding the insult there could work, because I was originally imagining it being here at the end of that, but it just felt way too wordy. So yeah, totally. So this lovely bow you're looking at is very real. I can assure you that you. Dimwit. Dimwit's a good word. Where's that? We made a. Remember, you'd remember this, Rex. We made a list of like mean words, didn't we, a while back? Is it here? I'm going to open it in a new window. And we kind of marked the ones that Carol was more likely to say out of them all. Here they are. We put some of these could like other some of these words are so good but wouldn't fit for Carol, but could be used when we have other NPCs that insult people, because Carol's not going to be the only person in the whole game that insults others, so we'll definitely use as many of these as we can, depending on the character and who suits what. So I think we said Carol's very blunt. She uses short, strong words. So things like fool, dork, moron. I put a star by those, probably because I felt those were more Carol words. Nimrod is great. And things, but it's probably a bit wordy for Carol. Carol's very one syllable sort of person. Very short, harsh words. Slack-faced. Wouldn't Carol be slack-faced though? What does slack mean now? I always thought slack-faced would be like someone with a plank face, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to Google that, because it's a slack-faced is an interesting one, and I want to see the proper definition of it now. Used to describe a person who is exhausted and spent, utterly drained of energy. A facial expression that is neutral. The facial muscles are relaxed. I guess I'm thinking of plank-faced, because plank-faced would be a brilliant insult to Carol, wouldn't it? You plank face. She'd be upset at that, I'll tell you that. She would be upset at that one. I think it was last week, right? Oh gosh, this was weeks ago. This was Virgin on back in the summer when we made this list, back when we did the fruits cutscene. With her using flashback, I like the idea of running with the theme of her insults being flash-based. Yeah, that's interesting. Flashback has a really good ring to it and flow, so it's just something we've sort of latched onto because it just works so well and goes so well with so many sentences. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's any other flesh-sounding words out there that have as good, that are as brilliant as flashback, but definitely if any spring to mind, guys, feel free to share. That's my favourite one. Simpleton's your favourite one? Yeah, I imagine Nigel Buckington saying the word simpleton, because he seemed like a bit pompous. Somebody pompous would use the word simpleton, I think. It's a dumb, vacant look, yeah. Okay, so you dork, you fool. Dimwit's I mean, what do you guys think of Dimwit? Do you think Dimwit would be better than Fool? I just think Fool is Carol. I don't know if Dimwit is a Carol word. That's the thing. Don't get me wrong, I love the word Dimwit. It's a great insult word. But maybe another NPC would be more likely to say that than Carol. Carol, I don't know, she strikes me as someone who call people fools and morons and things like that. The more simple words, simple short words. For Nigel, just think of any insult John Cleese would use. You think, is that who Nigel reminds you of, Asriel? Blithering idiot. Yeah, blithering idiot's a great one for Nigel. Blithering, anyway. Idiot could be a good word for Carol, actually. I feel like she isn't the most articulate of people. She doesn't really have a brilliant, like, although she's sassy, she's not like, she doesn't have, like, say, a vocabulary like Nigel Buckington would. So she wouldn't, like, be somebody that would say all these really elegant, fancy insults. She's pretty simple and very straight with her insults, but she's definitely very sassy and funny and entertaining. But we had the insults up here, and you know, I suppose these were very, very strong insults, like lice infested mane, filthy snotty cloak and all those things. Like, she just doesn't hold back at all. Carol is practical in thought. Yeah, basically, she's not the most poetic of ladies, that's for sure. Don't get her to write like a love letter or a song or anything like that, because it would be pretty bad. I just don't think. It just probably like be full of words like that weren't very flattering. Okay, so this lovely barrel you are looking at is very real. I can assure you of that. You'll fall. We'll keep it as full for now. But don't worry, chat. Thanks so much for the insult ideas. I will be taking note of them, because chances are we'll find an NPC that they're perfect for. There's some pretty creative ones that have been mentioned. Okay, so as for the next thing, right, now this sentence structure isn't going to be perfect, but I'm going to just get down what I imagine it to say. Basically, at least you're not dumb enough to reveal me, but that don't sound right. You know, so at least she's sort of like, she's definitely grateful that you didn't reveal her, but she's not gonna thank you. She's not gonna be like, thank you so much for not, like, you know, telling that villager about me. She'll never say that. She's got too much pride for that. She'll basically, whenever she feels like she's about to give someone a compliment, yeah, she'll say, I don't like you, but like, she wants to make sure that you don't think you like her. She don't want to show that affection. So, because right now this is sort of a compliment, what's coming in this second part of the sentence. She's basically saying, at least you're not an idiot. At least you're not an idiot for grassing me up, but I can't think of how to put it in Carol words right now. So I'm gonna have a think, and then we'll move on to the next part. Oh wow, this today is going by so fast. I hope we can get more of this scene done before the end. So But whatever we don't finish, we're going to carry on Friday. Could be as simple as that. You know, I don't like you, but at least you're not an idiot. I mean, we could have always expanded at least you're not an idiot for like sort of revealing me to that villager, but that could just be overly wordy. And we know what's happened. We witnessed it. So as long as we know what she's referring to, where are we going? As long as we're clear on why she doesn't think we're an idiot, then all is good. We're successful here. And I assume we'd know that she's saying we're not an idiot because we didn't like reveal it to the villagers. You could say at least you're not a jerk. Yeah, jerk's an interesting one because jerk's such a planet Earth insult. Like it's hard to explain what I mean, but you know, it's very like part of what young people say here. And whereas words like fool and idiot feel a little bit more versatile. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I guess we're going to still have a good think together on what Carol's likely words are going to be, and we should like consistently stick with them. And you know, give unique words, assign them to certain NPCs and stick with them, because the last thing we want is to spread all the insults out, and because everyone will have the same sort of tone of voice then. But we should start doing that. We should make a few notes on words Carol would use and put them here. I felt fool was marked here as well as moron and dork. Idiot is what we've said, but I'm not convinced with idiot either for Carol, to be honest. So I don't want to say fool because that's what we've said there. So, and there could be something that sounds better for the structure of this sentence. And more, and yeah, the jerk thing. I mean, really, if we think about it, you're not necessarily a jerk for saying this, because you as the hero don't actually know the consequences at this point in time of saying something like that. You could just be naive and a bit foolish maybe for saying that, but not necessarily a jerk. But if you did that, you're definitely 100% a jerk. That's no question. That is bad. But with this, I'd say just probably a little bit, like a bit ignorant, maybe, by saying that to the person you've kind of accidentally revealed Carol out of stupidity. So I guess it would be more. Where are we? We've got so much. So much here. There we go. We thought we lost it then. At least you didn't rat me out. Yeah, actually, I'm thinking that might work, because I want some context of the scene, because let's not forget the hero could have gone around the village talking to NPCs for about half an hour, and by the time they leave Lightfall they might have forgot what actually happened with Carol. So in that van, at least you didn't rat me out. You know, I don't like you, but at least you didn't rat me out. I think I'm a bit more comfortable with having a sort of mentioning what actually did happen in this scene, because if we just have it as I don't like you, but at least you're not a jerk, or at least you're not a moron, people might think, what does she mean, at least I'm not a moron? And you know, we've got a bit more context there. It speaks to the hero's actions rather than intelligence. Yeah. Okay, and hi Zephyrus, how you doing? Want to hear something funny? My wife's friend is dating a guy that has kids so that people will leave her alone about having kids, lol. That's interesting. I can't say I relate to that, weirdly, because I'm someone who doesn't have kids myself. I feel like for me, I wouldn't even want to be near kids. But, you know, interesting way to do it. Interesting. I guess she likes him. I will have a think on it. I feel Carol would still insult you, but with a veiled compliment. Yeah, and I think it's about getting that balance with Carol, because if she's gonna compliment you, which is kind of what she's done here, that's a compliment. At least you didn't rat me out. That's a really positive thing from Carol. Like, it isn't really that positive, but from somebody as cynical and as like mean as Carol, she that is a real compliment. That is words out, and she has to say that before a compliment, because it makes her feel a bit like she's not opening up or being too affectionate by starting it saying I don't like you. Because if Carol like literally just said that, she'd feel extremely vulnerable, like she's opening herself up to this hero, and that thought never in a million years would she do that. So she always, if she's ever going to compliment someone, she will balance it out with an insult. So I think that's something to remember with Carol for when we potentially write compliments for her in the future as well. And of course, over the course of the story, she will soften. But episode 1 content, she's going to be at her most hostile. So we got to consistently be hostile with Carol in this episode. She's not going to get affectionate this early on. Okay, so that's done. I'm very glad that we did that, folks. Okay, so confrontation part 1 done. Can we strike that out? Format text. Strike through, just so we know we've done the 3 variations now. So know the hero's reaction, and the 3 that we've got are draw weapon, run away in fear, and shake hands. And chat liked the shake hands one, even gave a dialogue idea for it, which I thought was quite cool, so we'll get those down. That's 3 very different reactions, so you guys as a player, if you're the sort of person that doesn't like Carol one bit, then you'd obviously do that if you want to be the asshole hero. If you're a bit scared, you've got that. So we got anger, fear and kindness, but it's not really that kind because Carol doesn't have hands, but you know, that's the nicest one out of the 3. I think, you know, we're not going to be kind this early on. That's as kind as we're going to get at this stage. Okay. So we'll copy a hero box now. And I know we've got it filled in for Fiona here, but we'll change that text in a bit so it's better for Carol. Well, obviously for Carol, not Fiona. And we'll just move this dialogue box a little bit further over here because I don't want to delete it because it's very awesome. It's the perfect dialogue box for when she finds, when she inspects the pockets of the hero, but that's happening a bit later, so we'll just stick that there for now. Oh, sorry for saying this late, but maybe you're still being a bother hassle instead of I still don't like you, add the insult. You know, you're still a bother, but at least you didn't rat me out. Okay. I do like that insult, you're a bother. And I feel like it's not too early to say that either, because you were technically a bother when you was inside her. That's very clear from how annoyed Carol is in scene 1 that you're a bother. I guess it's just about flow. You know, you're a bother, but you're still a bother, but at least you didn't rat me out. Because, you know, I don't like you, but at least you didn't rat me out. I guess, to me, that flows better, but I'm not saying that doesn't. It could sort of be worded in a way that it does flow well. But maybe it's just because I'm used to reading this. But I do think that's a good Carol insult as well. You're a hassle, you're a bother. I could definitely picture us saying that. I guess it's honestly going to be what the best flows. So if anyone's got any thoughts of that, I don't like you is very blunt, for sure. But I don't think Carol would hold back still. But I'm either or. We'll have to have a think about that one. Because what the dialogue that we put in here today, it's not necessarily going to be what I'm going to stick with. If I have second thoughts after and think, well, actually that probably does work better, then I can always give it a switch. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so you first reaction, draw weapon. So how do we do actions? Oh, yeah, I remember now how we do actions. It's grey and italics. Run away in fear. And shake hands. Offer to shake hands. Would that make more sense as a wording? I'm gonna have to Google that. Because it wouldn't be just shake hands, because you have to kind of show that you want to do the gesture. I have big horrible news, but also good. I'm having to change my game. Yet again, the tower defense genre is oversaturated with games, so I'm making an RPG we compete in. There's no such thing as competition, guys. Not in this industry. Not when there's a gazillion other games out on Steam. If you see all of them as competition, you'll give yourself a bit of a breakdown. Just focus on your own. My best advice I can give, well, in all honesty, is just work on your own content and game or story or project or stream or whatever it is you do, or what anyone does, and work on making that good. Don't think about what other people are doing, because it'll only distract you of what you're doing yourself. That's a pretty big change. Are you even going to be able to use any assets from the previous project? It is a big change, complete change of genre, that's for sure. But it's wherever the passion is. Do you like RPGs more than tower defense games? What one's your favourite genre out of the two, or do you like both? I love tower defense. Tower defense is fun. It's not one I play, but I have played cute tower defense games, not the serious ones, but I've played cute ones. Okay, so draw weapon. You would obviously, we're gonna have to have a think about what points you'll gain and lose here. So for runaway in fear, I imagine you would lose bravery points. What was the keyboard shortcut for a emojis. There we go, I've got it now. I found that out the other day. I was like, yeah, I can do emojis now without having to copy and paste them all. Oh no, if we're losing bravery, technically we get in the screamy coward face. That's the way I do it anyway. Scream. Yeah, is that, let me just double check. Yeah, coward, that's the face we use. So I don't know if you would gain, I mean, you'd get minus Carol affinity, I think, for, I'd imagine you'd lose more if you draw the weapon. And then if you ran away, because it's just more aggressive. And obviously you would be losing compassion, so the devil face. What is it called? I thought it was imp, but devil? I want the smiling devil. There we go, that one. Feel free to give the thoughts with the points in chat, guys. I mean, at the moment, the points, things aren't set in stone. They could very much be adjusted when we get to the balancing stage, but we need to have something to go off. You offer to shake hands. Would that be wise? That be a wisdom point? Because I don't know. It's actually a bit foolish, I'd say, because Carol doesn't have hands. And then if we do that, then we get a good balance with all three scales of morality then. But it obviously has to fit. We're not going to just put it there for the sake of it. Silly. What, I forgot the name of that emoji. I'll know when I see it. Quite a bit of assets. I have a lot that I couldn't use, but I can use now. Maybe it's saturated because people adore tower defense. And if you make your tower defense game really, 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 really good, it could pay off. But I get it. I do get why you'd be concerned. Don't you think RPGs are saturated then? I mean, I know RPGs take a lot of effort to make, so there's not always a lot out there, I guess. Like good RPGs. There's probably a lot of very average RPGs out there, but not any truly groundbreaking ones. Game where instead of using the towers to attack, you use them to buff and heal friendly travellers so they can survive passage through a difficult environment. That's like a really nice, wholesome twist on tower defense. Yeah, someone's gonna use that idea now, I bet, if there's some game dev in chat, because it's actually a really good one. Actually a really good one. There is that the silly face we use. Yeah. Maybe it'd be something like this. I mean, what am I doing? Messing out all the numbers. This is really just it might not be what we end up with, but what's going on? Why is it all over there? I imagine that obviously drawing the weapon's the worst for Carol, Running away would be the second worst, because it's a bit insulting having someone run away from you and forget. That's a bit annoying because she doesn't have hands, but at least it's an effort to be civil, so that would probably not be too bad. But at the same time, I don't know if I like the idea of all of them giving minus affinity points. It makes the player feel like they can't improve the relationship with her. So I'm not sure. Maybe that should give 0 rather than minus, just so there's a more neutral one. I think we had, because we did a similar thing for Rose in the Cave, where you have a 0 plus affinity points for a neutral option. So feel free to give thoughts on what you think when it comes to relationship improvements or worse relationship with Carol here in this particular part. Oh my goodness, hi Binary, how you doing? How you doing, Binary? Let's catch up with chat. There was a great Twitter post about saturated games. I'm trying to find basically that most indie devs fail, even if they create the in-demand genres. If you were going to do it, creating what you love and have no going down, do it, create what you love and have no regrets. Yeah, see, I guess, because I'll admit I don't think from a business perspective in regards, I haven't even looked at what's oversaturated and what isn't, I'll admit it. But that's because when I decided to make a game, I just wanted to do what I knew I'd enjoy the most. I thought, I don't care what's saturated, or I'm going to just do what I enjoy, because that's the whole purpose for me, to get enjoyment and like genuine creative fulfillment, not to get the dollars. I mean, obviously I'd like that. I'd like to make a living doing what I love, but I think you have to even stand a chance, you have to have genuine love for it first and foremost. Okay, and doing well here. Had a great day at work, just finishing up and gonna have some food. Oh, what foods? With Carol, she seems like a pretty resilient barrel. Food with Carol? Is that what? Must be an oak barrel. Yeah, that's something to consider. What was Carol made out of once upon a time? I mean, she's the colour. Her family, if you guys have seen the Law Bible, you may have seen all her family, which of course they're not biologically related, because there's no such thing as a race of barrels. They were brought to life from a spell, but they are all different colours, so they've all been sort of made from different trees all over the world. Hank was made from some grey tree, maybe up in the snow somewhere. What trees were they made from? This is fascinating. I love to think about that. That's like all that detailed lore stuff. It's fun. I'm a geek for it. If you try to follow trends, you'll never hit. Yeah, there's no point, Rose, with so many games released every week. It always changes. Yeah, it's I've never been one for trends. I've been alternative all my life in every shape or form. I don't even go near the popular stuff ever. I just follow what I genuinely like. Even when it's playing a game, I don't play the popular stuff. Do what you love and let your passion show through. And by popular stuff, I mean Fortnite and things like that. Don't even know what that game's about. If you have a public already, I'm pretty sure you can do moderately well. The problem is when no one knows who you are. I think it does help to have a community, or even something to start with, for sure, because having a community helps, because word of mouth and once someone knows about your game or product, then they'll tell their friends and that, and then it just sort of snowballs from there, I suppose. So it's definitely better if you've got people that know you or some kind of following for sure. And not sure on the food outcome for this evening. I don't even know what I'm having for dinner today. Which I think is the problem, not only with game devs but musicians and movie makers. Yeah, every creative career for sure has that in common. Fortnite is a plague. Never played it. Never touched that genre, or never played League of Legends either. That's another popular game I wouldn't touch. No offence to the people that play it. If anyone, I've got friends that play League of Legends, but you know, friends, acquaintances that play League of Legends, and I'd never insult someone for what they enjoy, never in a million years, as long as they're happy. But it's not like something I'd ever be interested in. I can't do competitive stuff, probably because I'm bad at it. Really, I'm bad at it. I really want to make a roguelike survival RPG with sandbox elements. Oh, so that's the sort of RPG you're going for. So then we're not competition, because that's an entirely different genre to Raindrop Chronicles. But in all honesty, I wouldn't see you as competition, even if you were doing something really very similar to me. I'd encourage it. I believe in more RPGs being on the market like this. I absolutely eat up choice-based RPGs and story-rich RPGs. I wish and pray there were more games like this out there. It feels like there's not enough to me. Like I was thinking the other day, is there actually any really in-depth, and I'm talking super in-depth here now, choice-based games? Because I'd love to be inspired. I want to look, even if I don't play a game myself, I'd like to watch a let's play on some games like that, so I can sort of get some form of inspiration with how they go about their game design and stuff like that. Stupid BR people. Yeah, we're just RPG lovers here, in all honesty. And when I say RPG lovers, I mean old school RPG, not, there's probably a lot of RPGs out there that I probably not like very much. I can be quite fussy in regards to what RPGs I like. But an RPG that comes from the heart and soul is how I best can sum up my favourite type of RPG. As long as there's effort and genuine attention to detail and love put into it, I'm going to like it, more than likely. Story-rich games are the best. Nah, man, competition makes people hunger for more. Yeah, I just don't have that nature. Whether it's playing games is someone I'm not competitive, and whether it's business, I'm not competitive. I don't really think I think it helps to sort of encourage creativity rather than be jealous of it or feel compared. Be inspired by your fellow creatives. And tell all your friends about them. I'm only teasing, yeah. It's good to have a good mindset about these things, because I think it helps a lot, especially when you get started in such a heavy and intense project, because mindset is everything. That's what will make you carry on and not give up. Okay, so this is what we're going to go with for now. I'm going to change that to that. Okay, so these are actions. There's no dialogue from the hero in each of these, which I kind of like, because the hero's not said a single word to Carol just yet. I've just realised this. It's just been Carol talking to herself, and the first time the hero talks, it's actually to the villager. not Carol herself. And I kind of like that there's not been a word exchanged between them just yet. It's going to make it all that more juicy when the hero finally does say a word, which I think we said would be later on, when the hero will agree to tolerate her. And she's literally going to just ramble to herself until that point. So we've got to pull this off. Because the hero, you know, doesn't ever talk. The style of you as the hero in this game is that he never says anything, or she or they. They'll never say anything unless it's a choice. So for example, here we've got the interaction with Fiona where you do speak, because that's a choice, it's a branching choice. So I like giving the player as much control as possible in shaping their hero, and I feel like if there was forced hero dialogue, the player would feel like they were less in control of who their characters. So that's kind of the rule I'm going by. Never make the hero say something unless it's a choice. Of course that I go against that here with the question thing, but that's different because those questions are literally just there for the purpose of giving you more information in your questionals about the quest you're going to do. Or for law reasons. It's not like stuff that's going to change the outcome or anything like that. I've been addicted to a survival game for the past year. I've never realised until the other day that it's a roguelike sandbox RPG. Roguelikes are interesting. It's not a genre I play much, but I did really enjoy Binding of Isaac, and that was a roguelike game when that came out. But that's probably the only roguelike game I've ever played. Don't Starve Together, have you heard of it? Oh yeah, I've heard of that one for sure. Give me about 5 years, Rose, I'll make you one. Plan is for heavily choice-based narrative games incorporating a new Game Plus style mechanic. First playthrough, the player sees nothing that their character does not, but on repeated playthroughs you start to see the NPC side conversations, cutscenes, expanding the story and changing your view on certain characters. So not overly ambitious at all, lol. You'll finish that before I finish Raindrop Chronicles. Then that's real. We'll probably be on episode 2 or 3 by then, maybe 3 if it goes smoothly. And almost 1,000 hours in it. Holy moly! Yeah, I'm addicted to it. That is a lot of hours. There's not many games I've ever put that many hours in, I'll say that. I think Final Fantasy 14 is the only one, and that's been spread out over years. Want players to go through and say third playthrough they see enough to think, oh, you were not a villain after all. Interesting. I'm gonna have to think about that. I mean, Raindrop Chronicles isn't really going by that approach because the whole New Game Plus mechanic is another complexity itself. I kind of see it as if a player starts a new game, everything starts from a blank slate, from scratch thing, and you just get the option to play the game differently, but none of the stats carry through or anything like that. So yeah, Raindrop Chronicles I haven't really said no to a New Game Plus yet, but I just know it would take some thinking about. So I'm thinking simple. Sometimes keeping it simple when the game is already very ambitious in itself is sometimes the smartest thing to do. Roguelikes are fun to buy a point. And Minecraft was the only sandbox you like. Minecraft's a good one. I never really gave it a try, but Rex really likes it. It's his favourite game. He always said if he could only play one game for the rest of his life, it would be Minecraft, which is interesting. I don't know what game I'd play if I could only play one game for the rest of my life, I have to say. Because I like variety. I'm trying out different ones. I don't think I could play the same story over and over and over again forever. Because I play more story RPGs, I guess, not sandbox stuff. I've been working on a small game with an artist friend. Once that's out, I'm wanting to work on something more substantial. No RPG, but I'd love to work on a horror-driven narrative game in my spare time. Oh, a horror one. I've always wished for a horror game. This is just my personal opinion. A horror game that doesn't have jump scares in it and is like truly haunting and horrifying, but without jump scares. Like, that would be really hard for someone to like pull off, because they'd have to like really do it psychologically, you know. Like, think of a genuinely terrifying, compelling concept and plot rather than jump scares. But I've asked people, I says, do you know any horror games that don't jump scares? Because I'd be very like keen on giving any horror games like that a go, just because I get too scared of jump scares, and I get more enjoyment out of a truly compelling psychological story that's going to haunt me to my core, rather than like just a monster coming out from behind a tree. You know, I always like stuff with more depth. Minecraft is great because there is a story there, but you don't like need to progress if you don't and want to. Oh, there is a story. I didn't even know. I thought it was literally just sandbox. Horror narrative, very nice for me. First thought on those lines will be Eternal Darkness. Jump scares are lame. I guess it depends. Some of those games really are a hit. Some people get a lot out of them, but I just get too scared. I get too scared. But if it was a psychological horror, that's a different story. I'd be like very, very keen on playing something like that. I always like anything more story driven. Okay, where were we? Oh my goodness. It's not the end of stream yet, is it? Please, no. Don't want it to be. I don't want the stream to end, but I have to have dinner soon. But we still got a bit longer. We're not going to end yet. Okay, so that can get crossed out now. We've done the reaction. So, Carol is going to say she's joining us now, but obviously it's going to be a bit different based on what you did. So let's get the different variations of Carol dialogue up before we finish. Now, we'll finish the second half of this scene off on Friday's stream. Let's just copy a random Carol dialogue box. This needs to go well away. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to copy and paste that dialogue and delete it. Because it's distracting and it's on the Law Bible and people will get all confused if they see a random text box in the middle of the screen. So we'll delete that, but I've saved the dialogue. That I love that dialogue, so we're keeping it. Right. Is Eternal Darkness a jump scare? Once I played Outlast and I just screamed the whole time. I played it on stream before I started Raindrop Chronicles. And I literally just screamed the whole time because it was very jump scary, and I get scared. I only get scared from like the noise, you know. It's the noise and the suddenness that gets me, but I'm not genuinely that scared by them at all. Like once that jump scare is worn off, I forget. And it doesn't scare me one bit. I enjoyed Outlast games. That was another jump scare one. I ended up turning it off because I got scared. I got scared so much. I just ended up playing the game and like creeping. I heard from somebody who knows my taste in games quite well that a horror game I'd like is apparently Soma, which I don't know because I know nothing about that game. But they said that I'd like it because it's more psychological. Outlast was pretty good, never played the sequel though. Was there literally a story to Outlast in terms of was there anything psychological going on, or was it literally just jump scares all through? Because I don't even remember. I don't think I got that far in all honesty, because I just turned it off because it was just too jump scary. Yeah, definitely more psychological Soma. Yeah, so that's really my thing, I guess, if I'm going to play a horror. But I'm not the norm. And most people, I think, like jump scares. Like I said, a lot of people get a lot of fun out of that, funnily enough. But I keep well away. Story was pretty cool. Honestly, I want to make an RPG like the MMO I used to play without the online elements. It was intense permadeath trial-filled grief-filled MMO. You could build your own village and hide behind the city walls. Interesting. Yeah, I've not heard of that one. Making an RPG that's an MMO is another, even more of a task as well, I believe. I mean, I wouldn't know because I've not even multiplayer and anything like that. I know a thing about. I have an entire playthrough out of Outlast since I streamed it all day, one day. It was more complicated story than Boo, I'm a Ghost. It had a neat story behind it. Yeah, that's basically, I guess if anything's just Boo, I'm a Ghost, then it's a skip from me because I like substance to stuff rather than, I'm definitely a substance over style person. So as if there's like something really thought-provoking, I'll probably be keen. But like I said, not everyone's like me. Like I said, I don't like the popular games, so I know I'm not in the norm at all. We all know ghosts are Boo and no substance. Yeah, for sure. The hack games did well, a simulated MMO, just so RPG, but occasionally the NPCs would talk about their life outside the game, mimicking real players. Would you ever make an RPG MMO, Asriel? I'm curious if anyone here would be tempted by such a thing. Okay, so I really want to at least consider these Carol dialogues before we finish today. So what I was thinking of doing, there was a particular Carol dialogue that we had last time that was pretty entertaining. I think we can bring that back for this particular line because it was popular with the community, so we shouldn't get rid of it. And I think that could work for the running away in fear option. So wait up. I've got it saved, so it's not gone. You voided my extended warranty. Now, I need a bit of insight here because I know nothing about cars and repairs. Do barrels have extended warranty? They must do. The community want them to, because that dialogue line was loved as soon as it got put in the entire game many months back. You're responsible for covering any damages I suffer now. But that's going to fail Carol. She goes full on aggressive in that branch, and the hero's just going to walk away. You ignore Karen, walk away, and then she'll realise she has to say something else to join the party. Something a bit more persuasive. Because that is not going to persuade the hero. It's going to be like, F you. I'm not covering any damages you suffer, Carol. So he's going to just walk away. And these two above are going to be pretty similar to that, just a variation on them. I have more sense than to try. I know simple ones created by single devs, but they could not keep up with the constant updates and adding content. Yeah, for sure. I mean, people think I'm crazy enough for doing a single player RPG. Never mind someone that does an MMO. That's another thing altogether. Because yeah, you got to keep like updating it, and it must be crazy. Okay, so what could she say in this one? Oh, what was Rex's? I want to do the shake hands one because Rex had a good line for that one. I've got to go back in my bot, scroll up. I like the handshake. Then you can have her get angry and say something like, does it look like I have hands? Very Carol. Yeah, you got a foolish point there for that, matey. Does she like she has hands? Okay, hi Space Monkey, how you doing? Welcome. What tool is this? RPG Maker MV? Well, we're using RPG Maker for the game, but this actual tool, if you mean this, is Draw.io. Don't get put off. I've had people come in this stream saying they've decided to stop coming because it's RPG Maker, which is very, very sad because it's about the tool. I mean, it's about the creator, not the tool, sorry. So this is ultimately why I don't put it in my title anymore, that it's RPG Maker, because people are judgmental, right? And if I think I do something metafictional with RPGs, I would go for something like a Muppets kind of thing, where you do short RPG stories as improv sessions where the NPCs dress up as different characters for the game within a game. That sounds fun. And if someone gave me a few million bucks, then I'd have to do it, yeah. Fair enough. If you're going to get the funding, then yeah, it would be pretty fun. Been meaning to check that out. Yeah, it's free and it's pretty easy to use. So it's given us these pretty dialogue trees. So yeah, I would not like to try and make my own MMO until I get better at online coding and understanding it better. I believe I would have to use Java. Yeah. MMOs would be hard. Okay, where were we? So does it look like I have hands? We need to finish off the sentence so that she says she's joining us. All of them need to sort of end with that. That kind of does. She doesn't directly say I'm joining you, but she says you're responsible for covering any damages and stuff, so it's like a way of saying I'm coming with you. So we'll do the same sort of thing for each. Wipe that smile off your face. I wanted to say something like, you can get that smile off your face because you're stuck with me now, or something like that. You can wipe that smile off your face because you're stuck with me now. Because that's the jokey option, right? That's like the very like sort of, yeah, it's the playful jokey option. You're a fool. You're making fun of Carol. You're teasing her. So yeah, you're probably smiling. That's the one where you're smiling, that's the one where you're scared, and that's the one where you're angry. All three very different reactions here from the hero. I think we got a good balance. I don't like because though in the dialogue. You can wipe that smile off your face. You're stuck with me now. Or just wipe that smile off your face. We might not even need you can. Because being stuck with Carol would mean that you wouldn't be smiling, right? You'd be like, oh no. Thanks for the stream. Gonna go grab some food. Have a good evening. Or take care, Binary. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'm going a tiny bit over time today because I want to make sure we finish at a good point. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope the food's yummy, and I hope that you managed to get your horror game done at some point. I'd like to see. If it has jump scares, I'd play it if it was yours. But anyway, I put myself through it. Okay, barrel. Put that away. I'm trying to get in Carol's mind here. She's genuinely does fear being hurt, but she tries her best to not show it. So she'll always put on that. Her pride wouldn't let her scream or show fear if someone drew their weapon at her. She might have shown fear in the past, but she's become a hard lady now. She's toughened up. She's become very cynical over her short lifespan of being a barrel. So she's gonna be like, put that away. This happens in Main Quest 2, by the way, like in a dialogue option where the hero draws the weapon, and I cannot remember for the life of me what she replied back saying, and I want to look now. But I need to dig through my Google Drive to find it, because we don't currently have the dialogue tree for Main Quest 2 on the Lore Bible, so I can't look there. But if it's too similar, I'd vary it up a bit, of course. You'll need put that away. You'll need it. Wouldn't want to get it. I guess if it's the axe, she'd say something like, wouldn't want to get it blunt on me before our journey together has even begun. And if it was arrows, it'd be, wouldn't want to waste those precious arrows on me before I don't know about the flow of that, or if that feels natural enough for dialogue just yet, but you get the idea. In every single dialogue line, she's kind of saying that she's joining us. She's not asking the question, because like we said, Carol would never ask. She'd never be like, can I come with you? She would push away into joining. So none of these is going to be a question where she's like, can I come? Can I join? She'll either be like, you're stuck with me, You're responsible for covering any damages I suffer now. You're not going anywhere. Or, you know, or she'd just assume that she's coming with you. Something like that, I imagine. I don't know if the dialogues are 100% perfect here. They might need a little edits so they fly more naturally. I don't know. Feel free to give feedback if you feel so, guys. But it's all going to lead to the hero ignoring Carol and walking away. So if we cross that off now, because we've done that. So she says she's joining you. I think that works for every single one of these. That's pretty clear that she's hinted that she's going to be there. Okay, so the next bit is the here's going to walk away. Then she'll try another attempt at trying to join the party, but a bit more of a persuasive method this time. It won't be the inventory yet, though, because the hero hasn't picked anything up off the ground yet, but he will shortly after. And that will be when Carol will say, you know, the box that we deleted, that will go back there. So, yes, for Friday's stream, we're going to finish this off. And get it done. That'll be the goal. I feel like we have a lot more to do, but the start is always the hardest part, and the sort of outline of how it's going to go. But because we've got that now, it's probably not going to be too bad on Friday to get it all done. And I think I don't want the hero to say anything until the end of the scene where he will agree to tolerate her. That can be like, can have that as a choice with something else maybe. We'll see. I know there has been people to create small MMOs with Game Maker. Zephyrus is going to make an MMO now. I bet. You'll be coming to us next stream, Zephyrus, and saying that you're going to make an MMO. That's my prediction. Am I wrong? If you have access to multiple servers from host service, then yes, it will reduce strain on each one. I wouldn't even know where to begin with such a thing. I don't think it would be my comfort zone, in all honesty. I always feel better doing something in my comfort zone, but I admire people that, you know, want to do something so huge. Okay. I'm excited. We're getting there. We're getting there, guys, with our... We're getting that. I'm going to put a trivia in chat before we leave. Who's up for a bit of trivia? And then we will raid somebody. So I'm going to hide the screen. We'll see who's online. Who wants to join in a raid? !raid. That will be awesome. I'll do some trivia. Yeah, let's get it in chat. You might be able to sneak a point from Van, because Van is very busy at work. Who knows? !trivia. What does Carol do for the hero? What is her job? Wow, we were talking about it in this stream. Considering it's the whole point of this scene and what it's going to lead to doing, but who knows? Maybe nobody knows the answer to that. Okay, who is online? I'm gonna send us over to someone who we probably haven't gone to for a bit, just somebody different. Clumsy. I'm good friends with someone who mods for her. So we'll head over there. Inventory, you did it, Raido. Well done. Let's give you that point. GG. That is exactly what Carol's job is for the hero, everyone. It's the only way she knows that she can be safe, because the hero would never let his items get damaged. Very clever, Carol. This seems relevant to what we're working on today. Oh, beaten to it. Yeah, it can sometimes, you can think, hang on, what is it? But then it, like, when someone says, you're like, oh, it was that. Yeah, I know now. Questions can be a bit, trivia can do that to you sometimes. Yeah, well done, Raido. And thank you, Mandos, for that follow as well. I appreciate it. All right, guys, so I'm going to send us over to Clumsy. I'm not sure what she's playing, but I think she's doing scary stuff. It looks like there's jump scare alerts, so we'll go and see what all that's about. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you Friday. We're going to carry on with all that scene on Friday, and it'll be super cool, because that's what we've needed to do for a long time. Take care, everyone. Have an awesome rest of your day. See you Friday. Thanks for hanging out.